Disney is planning to lay off as many as 1,000 employees in the coming weeks. That's according to a source close to the situation. Many of these job eliminations will be in marketing after the company consolidated its marketing across entertainment, experiences, and sports under a new CMO, Asad Ayaz, for the first time. That happened back in January. My understanding is that these layoffs have been in the works since then. The company is also in the process of combining Disney Plus and Hulu, both the apps and the teams. And this move around the layoffs, first reported by the Wall Street Journal, comes less than a month after Josh D'Amaro took the helm of Disney as CEO, and as the company has meaningfully underperformed the S&P over the past year. Now, Disney is facing some key challenges, including maintaining growth of the parks and experiences division amid consumer uncertainty. There's the challenge of revitalizing key franchises in the film division, which is reckoning with a weaker box office as well as declining profitability. And in the face of a linear TV business in secular decline, the company must continue growing streaming to compensate. Now, analysts are overwhelmingly positive on D'Amaro's ability to take on these challenges. 88% of analysts have a buy on the stock, 12% have a hold.
Disney began a round of layoffs on Tuesday.
Okay, so let's stop. Let's pause that real quick, okay? The way that Disney, I'm going to take this out of here because something misspelled on there, and I don't like misspelled stuff. Like, I don't like that stuff. We were rushing trying to get this out to you. Okay, so the reality of it is this thing is not just going to affect Cali, even though I'm going to show you what's happening in Cali when it comes to AI, okay? San Francisco, that whole area right there, literally right now, the most expensive place to live in the country. But what they're doing with AI right now is going to define how we actually do media. Me sitting here talking to you on YouTube, all the way down to actors that are hired, how they're hired. I keep saying this and I truly believe it. The way that the game is going to evolve to is you are going to, the average person, if this lines up right, will be able now to become a star. And we're not talking about YouTube. We're talking about, and we're not talking about Mr. Beast. I'm not talking about Speed. I'm literally talking about like the grandma sitting on the couch. Why? Because real people, and we see it in YouTube, and this is what's affecting Disney's money model too. Real people like you and me are causing real people who watch us to actually desire to interact with more real content, not the type of content that is carefully curated to do a storyline and get people excited traditionally. Disney has been losing a ton of money on this type of approach. YouTube, Google has been stealing money out of these media pockets because nobody wants to watch a crazy YouTube Disney film that, when I remember Captain Marvel was not like what you saw Captain Marvel as right now. Okay. So I think this is going to continuously hit Disney, and this is the way that they begin to posture to evolve into the next level of business, because they've got to evolve. If they're in the entertainment space, Disney is going to lose their positioning if they don't evolve. And evolving means adapting AI and actually cutting the purse strings because of purse strings when it comes to expenses of people that really aren't necessary to get them to the next level. And it's sad to say that, but this is where we're going to.
Here's what it's offering in severance. Disney CEO Josh D'Amaro told staffers that the Mouse House is laying off workers less than a month into his new role. The cuts come after Disney unified its enterprise marketing and brand teams earlier this year. Business Insider's James Ferris reported that laid-off workers will receive a severance package based on their level and length of tenure at the company, according to Disney's employee handbook. Non-managers with less than 5 years of experience will get 4 weeks of pay. Those with more than 5 years will get 1 week of additional pay for every year worked, for up to 52 weeks. Managers receive slightly more upfront, with 6 weeks for those under 5 years, and additional pay based on tenure for senior employees. Some workers also said that they received a prorated bonus, vacation days, and continued healthcare for several months. So how does Disney's severance offer compare to other media companies? Paramount recently offered 2 weeks of pay for each year of service to hybrid workers who didn't want to return to in-person work. The Washington Post gave 4 weeks of base pay plus additional weeks based on tenure, keeping some employees on payroll for up to 2 months after layoffs. And NBC Universal offered 8 weeks of pay and continued health coverage for 3 months. So the takeaway this week, Disney is mostly in line with other media companies in terms of what it's offering to laid off employees.
It's a bloodbath at Disney, and Marvel Studios just took the worst of it. Yesterday, the company laid off approximately 1,000 employees company-wide, and nearly the entire visual development team at Marvel was let go.
Before I spread this post, when I saw it on social media, I needed to fact check it. So I reached out to my good friend Andy Park, who was the genius behind creating the original Wasp supersuit and the original Wasp concept drawings for the film Ant-Man and the Wasp, and just said, is this true? Is this really what's happening? And he said, yeah, it's true. I have been let go. And I can't quite believe that Disney have let go of the artists who brought the current Marvel universe to life through their imagination and their genius. That the people who...
So if you don't get it, they don't care. You got to realize that they don't care. And if you think that they care, then you're kind of behind. Because at the end of the day, a lot of these people, and I know people that used to work on the studios and on sets for some of these movies, and I was talking to a couple of them when it came to, hey, I want to move out of just doing movies into like real estate, in the real estate space. I want to add more to my portfolio. And some of them, they were smart. They got money and bought real estate, or got money, opened a side hustle, had a couple properties, diversified. The people that didn't, they are the ones right now that are crying. They're the ones right now who put all of their trust and their faith in this Disney machine, which you can't bash them. How many times do you go into a job and they want your utter commitment to everything, and they will put so many things on you and you're like, this is not even my job, but they will do it. Disney doesn't care. They're just like that. No different than Oracle, no different than Amazon or any of these other places. It's just that a lot of people were deceived. And I still believe a lot of people are deceived, thinking that these positions really kind of exemplifies who they are. Like, people draw their value from their job. And because they draw their value from their job, and that job gives them their identity, when things like this happen, they go into a frenzy, okay? And I know she's an actor. She looks a little different. I think her name is Izio. Last name begins with an L. Forgot that. I'm gonna pull it up because I don't want to just mercilessly destroy who she is. But at the end of the day, she's feeling self-pity. And the truth is, anybody can get it right now. When I say anybody can get it, from Brad Pitt down to Dick Wolf, down to any of them that's an executive producer. See, what gets me is that a lot of these executive producers and writers don't even get their mind hasn't even caught up to the fact that OpenAI and Claude can literally write the scripts based on a prompt. We don't even need script writers. Now, I'm of the belief that we still do need script writers. And I'm going to tell you why. You need somebody to review that stuff that comes out of them. And you need somebody with a good mind, a good concept of what a good story looks like, to actually check it, validate it, change it around, adjust it for any hallucinations. And if you don't know what hallucinations are, like I said before, that's when AI spits out something that you did not program it or ask it to do. False information, which it does, I don't say quite a bit, but probably 2 out of every 10 times. That's enough to screw up anything you got going on, especially if you put a manuscript, you wanted to produce a manuscript that in some cases are 1,000 pages long. You got to think about it. Who's going to read that 1,000 pages and say, this doesn't look right, we need to change this scene and adjust this scene? So there's a lot of things that are going on in the background. AI, and don't you be confused, AI is here in Hollywood, and the Hollywood that we saw before, the Marvel Studios, all the stuff that ran 150K, 150 million, okay, to actually produce, and they only get 100 million back or 50 million back because I'm not sitting in the theaters. And I'm sure if you want to sit in the theater, you can. Last time I went, the dude that was 2 rows down was crazy, all right, off the wall. Oh, no. I'm not planning on sitting in a dark room with a bunch of people anytime soon. Just let you know. That's not my thing, okay? Especially if I don't have my heat on me. And if you don't know what that is, you figure it out.
Invented these characters in the first place, who designed them in the first place, are now being replaced by AI. AI that, well...
And before we even go further, this is self-pity. This is pity she's advocating for a little bit, because these people produced these things or created Wasp Man or Ant-Man, the Wasp or Ant-Man, any of these TV or movies, it doesn't matter that they created. See, this is why we talk about getting a brand. This is why I sit in front of you and I could be out there doing a 50 to 100, 300 calls that some of these realtors are trying to do, or taking your business card, rolling up to you in the shopping line. Hey, here's my card. Use me to buy your house. No, I'm making content. I'm making content. Okay, because this is where everything is actually going. Some people haven't gotten it yet. They're not there. That's why I say build a brand. Build a brand. Because when you're making content and you're doing things like this that I'm doing, and this is an evergreen, somebody might listen to it a year from now, 6 years from now, 6 months from now, it's evergreen. Not like YouTube, not like TikTok or any of these other platforms. So they did not build a brand. So their intellectual property, their IP, Wasp, Ant-Man, belongs to Disney. It doesn't belong to them. So if they made it, they're just workers who were working and on their job created and made something that they're not going to get value from. And if they get any residual checks, it's this amount. Mark my words. I've seen these guys talk about their residual checks that they get. No, the executive producers, the actors, directors, they get a bulk of it. But these guys that work in the back, that do all the little modeling, putting these suits together and all this different stuff, no, they don't come here thinking that they have some level of what is it? What's the best word to put it? That they're spared in this, right? No, there's no amnesty for them. They get it too, because on the clock, everything they did belonged to Disney. Don't let this be you. That's why we're talking about this also. Okay?
Take their designs and take what those artists created and use it to create iterations of that. I am so sorry, Andy, and I am so sorry to every single one of the artists who were let go in the 1,000 artists that Disney fired, and particularly the entire team at Marvel who have been considered obsolete now after building the Marvel empire. If you're a huge fan of Marvel, just take a moment today to think about them, to send up a prayer for them, to honor the people who created the world that you fell in love with. That was a human invention. These were human creations.
These people were doing their job. That's it. What it comes down to, they were doing their job. I'm becoming more and more of an advocate of you, whether you're watching this on your lunchtime or watching this in the evening when you got home. It doesn't matter. You need to start building. You need to start building, whether it's real estate, whether it's AI. I don't care if it's walking dogs. I don't care if it's pooper scooper. And it's crazy. I found a business picking up poop that this guy's making multi-millions. It's like, damn, the simplest thing. But you need to do something outside of just what you do. I'm not saying leave your job, but this is only going to get bigger. It's not going to get smaller. It's going to get bigger. It's going to grow. It's not going to get smaller.
And they shouldn't be stolen by tech giants so that their robots can replicate them. I think it's disgusting and horrible. And I stand with all the artists. And Andy, I'm so sorry. And I love you guys.
You may not know the name Coyote, but if you work in Hollywood, you know the trucks, the stages, the gear, and the Star Wagons. And now that company is part of the much bigger reset happening in the industry. Coyote is winding down most of its LA soundstage business, and they're leaving Georgia and New Mexico entirely, where they operated vehicle fleets and a big equipment rental business.
What I discovered is the support portion to Disney is so big. Like, I don't think Marvel, because they let 1,000 people go from that Marvel section, is going to rock it. I believe because they're letting these people go and they're slowly starting to making a face to AI, and not spending as much money on movies that they did before, and they're being very selective. Companies like this that support the movie industry is where we're going to see the most effect in the economy, because these companies, they employ real people like you and me. We get up. We're not Brad Pitt. We're not getting a big cut from our job. We're not even an A or B level. We're not even a C level actor. They're just putting stuff into carts, into trucks, and making sure they get there safely so that actors can have a place to chill at when they're in between takes on a show. They're cutting it. These are the people that are really going to be affected. They're really going to be affected. This is a nationwide company.
I'm Jason Fisher, the founder of Stage Runner and former head of production at Disney, Paramount, and AMC. So I spoke with a number of people close to the company, and the bigger picture is this. Coyote is not disappearing. Their lighting, grip, and truck rental business will continue in LA and New York. They also lease Griffith Park Studios. They've got a hit show there, so that studio is going to remain open. And both Sunset Studios in West Hollywood and the brand new Pier 94 Studios in Manhattan, neither of those are going to be impacted. In fact, both of them are basically full right now, killing it. But this still is a big shift. And remember, we've also got Radford Studios, which Hackman bought in 2021 for $1.8 billion. That now looks to be going to Netflix for around $350 million. Ugh, the irony of that one.
$1.8 billion to $350 million. See, everything's a fire sale. This is no different than real estate. When somebody's got to sell because the market's under pressure, they got to sell. It's a fire sale. Okay. This is, I think when I look at this too, and I've been studying this out, the misconception is that because this industry is still booming alongside what's taking place in Hollywood, Disney and Marvel, that they're still moving, that this is where it's going to be. How is this going to be still a viable business? Viable business. A viable business. Okay. A value-based business. How's this business still going to work when you don't have people to even sit in the carts and in the things that they provide for actors? It's just a matter of time before these actors are like, there's a wrap. Hold on, this wife. What's up, baby? I'm streaming. How you hopping off just like that? Okay, bye. It's like I don't feel like talking online right now. All right, cool.
We need to do a separate post on that entirely. And by the way, I'm also hearing Rick Caruso is in final talks to buy CBS Television City on Fairfax. So the key takeaway, sound stages still matter, but the market is getting much smaller and much more selective. Purpose-built stages in the right locations are still the big draw for the big shows. But most importantly, I really feel for the Coyote employees impacted by this. It's such a tough moment for a lot of really talented people.
Go to the other end of the spectrum and you've got generative AI where they can make up a character, they can make up an actor, they can make up a performance from scratch with a text prompt. It's like, no, that's horrifying to me. That's the opposite. That's exactly what we're not doing.
And why is it horrifying to you?
Horrifying to me because I don't, first of all, I don't want a computer doing what I pride myself on being able to do with actors. I don't want to replace actors. I love working with actors. I'm not even really an animator. I'm not interested in animating. I'm interested in directing. So it's all about how I can write something and how I can assist them through a process of finding that emotional moment. And I don't think that's ever going to change, frankly. I don't think Gen AI is going to come in and replace that. I think Gen AI will play a role in making VFX more efficient and therefore cheaper, and then opening back up. See, right now, imaginative films, fantastic films, science fiction films, they're starting to die off as a breed because they're expensive, and the theatrical marketplace has contracted, and so now studios are only comfortable spending those kinds of dollar amounts with blue chip IP. That which we've seen, that which we know. So a movie like Avatar would never get made in that environment. That was brand new IP. I mean, nobody had ever heard of it.
Yeah. So they're only going to bet on what they know, what they like, and what they trust is actually going to perform. And the days of them throwing $100 million against a movie screen, which, damn, I think about $100 million. You know how many people that can actually feed, man? That's crazy. Against a movie screen to make a movie going to be over. This is my opinion, okay? I believe that they're going to fire these people and they're going to hire back a fraction of these people once they have the systems and the workflows and going on how to produce this. And I'm not talking anything foreign. If you go to Alex Hormozy's channel on YouTube, if you don't know who Alex Hormozy is, he's the author of $100 million leads, $100 million offers, $100 million money models. Basically, the epitome of when it comes to marketing and sales and offers and business structure online. Okay, Alex right now is doing somewhere between 20 to about 40 posts a day. And he's using AI. When I was looking at it this week, and I thought it was crazy. He's using AI to generate and create these posts, which I do with some of my other posts on sites like Facebook and Instagram. But he's taking it a step further. He's using it on a long form platform like YouTube to create actual content that's long form content stretching 4 or 5 minutes or longer. Okay. And because AI has given him that lift based on the pool of information that it has about him, his products, his service, what he does already, it's changing completely the game when it comes to how he produces content.